Okay, I'm not going to put this out until tomorrow, but I'll go ahead and put it out. I think it's important to talk about manipulation. The reason I say this is because I saw a tweet from Glenn Greenwald about the recent revelation that dogs, particularly beagles, were used in animal experiments under the NIH, which was led by Fauci. Now, there are many dogs that are dumped and everything else like that, but unfortunately, Americans, I will say this in a more realistic way, Americans have the luxury to care about animals in this way. And I've played that American. I have. And it's something, unfortunately, that I got from my mom a lot of ways. Yeah. At least that's what I'm going to blame anyway. And it tugs at your heartstrings, It's just like those ASPCA commercials, with the dogs in the cage and they're looking up with the sad eyes. It's very manipulative. And I don't like being manipulated. I'd like to think anyway, that I don't manipulate the people who listen to my videos. I'd like to think. And even if I do manipulate, I'd like to think that people are willing to say, I don't like what you're saying. And you're not too controlled by what I say. The reason why is because I think about it and you see these videos about it. Yeah, it's awful. It is absolutely awful. And it comes up with sort of the standard sort of left-wing thing where it's just like when they hear about, what white people have done to blacks, it's like, oh, white people are the worst, aren't they? And they fall into that sort of trap where it's just like everything's going to end. And it turns very easily into nihilism or some sort of, well, the American cops are so bad or Texans are so dumb. It's, like I say, it's boring because ultimately these things are repeated ad nauseum, or the liberals did this, and like I say, Glenn Greenwald did that tweet as well, where he says the idea that Fauci doesn't know that these experiments are going on and lacks the power to stop them is laughable. This has been an activist issue for decades within his agencies. But even if liberals need to defend Fauci, the experiments should still immediately be banned. Like I say, that's a bit heavy-handed. It's very heavy-handed. It's hard because, yeah, you can be manipulated by these things. It's the same type of thing when you see these, the race bait videos of, black kids beating up white kids or something like that, and some black girls beating up a white girl or something like that. Or you see the infinite number of videos where, Chinese are cooking dogs, or you'll see it in South Korea, they're cooking dogs, and it's all manipulative to make it seem like we're superior, that sort of thing, and it's exploitative, manipulative, and it goes to base emotion. Like I said, maybe I'm giving moral arguments here that maybe I shouldn't, and maybe I'm when you get older, you realize when you're being manipulated. And I don't like it. I don't like to be manipulated myself. I don't like that feeling. Because if you have any wit about you, that you know that you're being led down this path. And I've fallen down many paths in my life, which aren't the greatest. Absolutely. But I think it's It's very difficult. I mean, that's my opinion. Sorry for the dead air, but I just don't like it. When people, like I said, when people talk about abortion, for example, that can play out on both sides. I don't like talking about it. I've talked about it once. I think I did a video where they'll say the mother could die because of a certain where basically the baby is stuck in the fallopian tube, I believe, or like I say there are other issues where the mother is bleeding out, or then somebody a pro-life person will show videos of an abortion or something like that, and it's exploitative. Or they'll say, well, religion is all the fault of it's the fault of everyone. And to me, that doesn't breed anything more than the burning down of Catholic churches or whatever, and it just makes things worse. I don't really know the answer to these things, and I know it's not radical centrism or anything else, and extremism comes and goes. And unfortunately, that's just how people are. They go from one extreme to the other. And ordinary people and dogs and everything else are stuck in the middle. I say this not to be strictly political, but just to say that everybody uses manipulation in some form or another. Just depends on whether it's subtle or it's obvious. And it's something I think that everybody has radar to understand with, like I said. And I think from subtle to blatant is what I meant. Excuse me, I couldn't think of the word, but we have to be careful about that. And I say that even though I just did a video talking about Palestinian woman who was pulled off the grave of her son because the graveyard or the cemetery was being ripped up so they could make a theme park. So I do realize to a point I'm a hypocrite. I do. Or at least being contradictory at the very least. But it's something I think we all have to be aware of. And being aware of the manipulation. Like I say, especially with those videos about dogs where, the dogs get dumped, or, we see the Beagle Project and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, it's very noble. It is. And it's very sad to see what has happened to those animals due to experiments, about, whether it's flesh-eating viruses or whatever it is. I don't know. It's one of those conundrums that plenty of people will kind of brush off and say, it's for the greater good, though. I just don't want to see it, sort of thing, And it's different levels of it, obviously. When people want to talk about the Holocaust and see pictures of it, man, edgy folks are just like, ha ha ha, basically, or whatever, This is so frustrating. I'm gone on way too long, and there's probably too much dead air, but I'm going to put this up regardless. Just be aware of it is my only goal. I think that's all I have to say on it. I think that just be aware of manipulation around you and do your best to have your own opinion. I would genuinely like to think that, I'm not as manipulative as folks who get paid to do YouTube, whether it's through AdSense or whether it's through Patreon or wherever, where donates directly to their site or whatever. I'd like to think that, but I'm no saint. I'm no angel. Nothing like it. I'm just another guy ranting on YouTube. I'm ranting vaguely reactionary guy number 3052. I realize that. But, anywho, I've talked for long enough. I hope y'all gleaned some insight somewhere in there. And just watch out. That's all I can really tell you. Anywho, hopefully y'all enjoyed that or at least get something out of it. See you later. Goodbye.